Hello and welcome to another episode of Kohler Commentary. I'm your host, Unji, and today I am joined by my sister once again and her Korea crew. I'm doing this new thing this month where I wanted to kind of combine what type of traveler are you as a question based on your Enneagram type. It definitely doesn't mean you're boxed into one type alone as to how you travel, but it's interesting to hear how those styles are individually and how that might come together as a group. And at the same time, for the Korean community, what are some recommendations that you guys might have for Korea for those that are traveling there? Because it has been a hot destination the past year, and I think to come ahead. So we're going to have some additions of, just grown-ups living their lives. And then in the future, we also have one for grown-ups with littles to also kind of show the differences of maybe what you might do with kids and without. And so today I am joined by my sister, like I said. Her name is Onni or Jessica or Jess, and her college besties, Shelly Onni and Jennie Onni, and then Jennie Onni's husband, Will, who I have never really met, but I just feel like I know so much about.
If you think you might be feeling depressed, stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, BetterHelp, the sponsor of this episode, is here for you. BetterHelp offers a broad range of over 20,000 licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. Plus, you can get 10% off your first month with my code, betterhelp.com/Kohler. With BetterHelp, you can talk to your therapist in a private online environment at your convenience, and all you have to do is fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs before getting matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Then you schedule secure video and phone sessions, plus you can exchange unlimited messages and everything you share is completely confidential. As a mom constantly working around Jaden's toddler schedule, having my weekly therapy online has been a complete game changer and a huge reason why I have made big steps to better my mental health for myself and for my family. You can also request a new therapist anytime at no additional charge. Join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. Don't forget to use my code to get that 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Kohler. That's better, HELP.com/Kohler.
So welcome to the podcast, guys. It's been about, April? It's been about 2 months since you've gotten back for your trip. How do you guys feel? Do you have withdrawals?
I think Shelly has withdrawals every day, don't you, Shelly?
Oh, so Shelly Onni did have to return back to Littles. So I bet there was a longing for the best trip ever. But before we go into it, basically the four of you guys traveled together to Korea. I believe my sister Onni, you've gone to several trips with Jennie Onni and her husband before. It sounds like the group matched. And so you decided to do it again and then add another one in Shelly Onni. So I wanted to hear first, as you go around, how would you rate this trip out of 5? The drinks are sipping. We'll go in numerical order. How would you rate this trip? So Onni, how would you rate this trip?
Well, obviously I would rate this trip a 5 because we went on a trip to Korea. I feel like it's going to be a 5. Right?
Okay. Jennie Onni, what was your rating?
I would rate it a 5 because of the people I went with, not because it was Korea. But yes, because it's also Korea.
Will, let's put a male into the mic. What would you rate this trip?
I'm going to go with a different opinion, and I actually rated a 4.5. And not because of the group that I was traveling with, but sort of the situations that we found ourselves in, and a couple of the places that we went to were a little bit questionable. But yes, definitely the group made the trip the most fun, I think, out of all our trips that we've taken in the last year.
The most fun out of all, at least fun-wise. Okay.
Yes.
And then I feel like it's going to get heated later. What were these conflicts that arose? And then Shelly Onni, how would you rate this trip?
Mine's a solid 5. If I could give a 10, I would give a 10.
Whoa, you would double the amount. So, what we're going to do now is really quickly, we're not going to dive too deep into the Enneagram itself in this episode, although you guys are welcome to come back and do another angle with this in the Enneagram lens. But what I wanted you guys to do was first share what type of traveler you generally are, maybe alone solo trip, but I would assume more so in group settings. So, what type of traveler are you? And then at the end of that explanation, go ahead and reveal your Enneagram type. We can go in any order. Maybe this will reveal things as well. Who knows? We're about to psychoanalyze everything starting now.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't want to fail, so I'll go first. So I am Jess, and I am a traveler that likes to plan. So before I go, I'll usually plan everything out so that I know exactly what I'm going to do, have a schedule, usually like on an Excel spreadsheet type of thing. I like to go to places, that country or that city or whatever it's like most well known for. And I think I'm pretty well balanced. I like to experience a little bit of everything, but my travel will usually revolve around food and drinks and something that's scenic. It's like a nature, outdoorsy, active, scenic thing. And one thing I really do try especially when I schedule, is to have very efficient traveling. So when I'm scheduling
Mm.
things, I want to make sure that all of the places that we're going to are in one place, and so that we maximize our time there. So I've often had people complain that they are very tired by the end of my trips because we do so much. But they still travel with me, so I'm assuming that it's not so bad.
So it sounds like we hear who the planner might have been of this trip. Okay, so go ahead and reveal your type.
Oh, I am a type 3.
I definitely heard some buzzwords like efficiency and maximize. I have some questions. I will come back to each of you with follow ups, but then let's go ahead and go to whoever feels like they would want to go next.
I'll go next. So, hi everyone. I am actually the opposite of Jess. So, I like to be spontaneous with my travel. I will plan to a certain extent, like the hot spots that I'm interested in going, the restaurants that I have interest in. But I like to, for the most part, have a nice balance between scenic areas that I like to visit, like spending time outdoors, and balance that with places that are a little bit more touristy, but also places I think that are pretty popular among the locals as well, which can be difficult when you're not planning certain things. But I like to see like where people are going to and sort of just go with the flow. I think when I travel with a group that has this sort of planning style, my personality is to sort of go along with that as well. I don't have a problem sticking to a schedule, but if the onus is on me to sort of have this trip planned out for everyone. My kind of style is to plan for like the next immediate day and think about like some of the top 3 things we'll do and then be open to what we can find on our way to those destinations.
As we continue on, it would be interesting to hear how you guys might respond to that kind of planning style, because it sounds like that wasn't maybe the delegation of this trip, but it's interesting to think about like what would this trip have looked like if it was a little bit, different every day, an adventure. Okay, next. Oh no, what is your Enneagram? I heard some buzzwords like go with the flow. I have some desires, but wouldn't mind sticking to another schedule.
My Enneagram is 9, but I think I might be a 7. So we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'll go next. But just a quick anecdote. So my first trip with Will, he was actually supposed to plan it, and we were going to Thailand. And we got there, and we had a hotel the first night, and then the next morning it was like, "Where are we going next?" And he goes, "I don't know." And I was like, "Where are we staying?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, "Where do you want to go? Where do you want to stay?" I'm like, "Oh." And ever since, I've never let him plan a single thing, and I have never experienced something like that in my life. And I'm pretty
Mm,
spontaneous, I want to
mm,
say.
mm, mm,
Um,
Well, okay. I wouldn't mind like those kinds of trips if it's somewhere that I've been to. And I guess actually I've actually been to Korea a lot. But if I was going to be somewhere for a long period of time, or if I've been there like often, like when I go to LA, we don't know what we're doing the next day. But if I'm going to a new place, I would want to.
So far, what I heard about this trip, while it could have actually been very different planning styles, the great thing so far was the things that Will would have wanted to see, scenic things, and even like the people, touristy stuff was aligned with what you said on the would have to go into your traveling itinerary. So luckily, that allows the alignment to be there. So whoa, wonderful group dynamic. Okay, Jenny, and you continue.
okay, so my style is yes, I like to create an Excel spreadsheet. I like to have my days planned out. But I like to do that because once we're there, if somebody goes like, "What are we doing?" I just want like a general sense of what we're doing so we have some ideas and like Jess said, like be more efficient with our time and whatnot. But usually my Excel plans never go to plan. So, which is fine. I actually do enjoy kind of the randomness that trips can bring. So I'm very flexible, I would say. And I guess between Jess and Will, I'm like right in the middle, which for a group dynamic, I think works. And I like to plan, but if somebody else plans, I love that they take the lead. Like I'd rather just follow too. But if nobody's gonna plan like Will, then I will plan.
And actually, for this trip, Jenny planned all of it. Yeah,
Oh,
she planned it all. Like everything was there. And I was more of like, oh, this is
the
what we're doing
efficiency
today.
creator.
Then let's do this. So yeah.
Jenny, Annie, what Enneagram number are you?
I'm a 7. We thought I
Oh,
was a 2, so I retook it and I'm still a 7.
you got
Um,
100%. I
oh
rarely
really?
see.
I'm 100% 7?
That's what your
Oh.
results said that I saw,
Oh,
and then it
wow.
was a 3 next, and then a 2.
Oh,
But
interesting.
that I mean, even in typing sessions that I do end up doing, the 100% sometimes doesn't actually mean what they decide to go through. But
I
like
see.
it would be rare that you wouldn't be a 7. But continue. Oh,
Yeah.
that's you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. And then Shelly on me.
So, if you haven't, realized after Jess and Jenny and Will spoke, I am not a planner. I do zero planning in general in my life. I just really go with the flow. Like even more so than I think Will. I'm at the polar end where I can go somewhere, book a flight, not have any plans, and be completely okay with it because I just like to act like a local and, mindlessly
Mm,
walk around, find new things that haven't wasn't expecting. I don't have to see the, most visited attractions or anything like that. It's just really me and wandering around. That's my travel style. So, a group travel style as well. And this is why
mm.
I fit so well with Jess and Jenny because they do all the planning and I get to see all these amazing things that they plan for me to, you know, um, yeah, see. So that's my travel style.
And you
And
are an Enneagram.
9.
Wow, a 3, a 7, and 2 nines. And it was rated a 5 overall for the vibes. I looked up, like, there's not much on traveling. So, this is also like a personal research project for me is to see how people might travel as like a general theme. But Alicia Larkey, she wrote like 3 years ago a Instagram post. So I thought I would snapshot that and see if you guys would agree on behalf of the other. So it says a type 3 would be found A type 3 in vacation would have found the top rated condo and restaurants in the area and already made reservations for the group. They can usually be found on their laptop working at some point, even though they really want to turn off their phone and to be present. I thought that was very
I
interesting.
agree. I agree with that only because like Jess will go back and like update the doc, whereas
Mm.
once I'm on the vacation, I won't update it. But like I would go back to reference, oh, okay, what are we gonna do the next day? But I wouldn't go back and like
Mm.
try to like like reschedule things. It's just like, okay, if we missed it, we missed it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
those kind of it bothers me. If
Yeah.
we did something, then I need to go back and change it, and that's what we did.
Because it's the check mark for the 3.
Or it's
And
like if we
also
miss
for my
something.
memory.
Okay, a 7 can excitedly talks up big plans for the next vacation while on the way to this current vacation. Yes, let's do it is the phrase you will hear most on the trip with them. So I see some laughter. Does that sound like her, Jenny on me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we were
Where are you guys
planning.
going next?
Well, I think we're going back to Korea. We were like talking about coming back to Korea.
She was literally talking about that while we were there in the spring.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so that one checks out. And then a type 9 silently hopes there will be some sort of nature trails, although hesitant to share their opinion unless in a comfortable group. They are curious about the world and the people in these new places, but will go along happily with whoever arranged the trip. 9s do love to have a little downtime as well.
That's like exactly
That's
them.
pretty accurate.
You
Wow.
just
Okay,
described
Alicia Larkey. 10 out of 10 for you. Okay, so one more on the like group traveling styles. So what I heard here is there's a 3 and a 7, more of the assertive styles in general with life, and so definitely seems like more hands-on in this planning trip. And then two 9s with which are more like withdrawn in certain settings, not all settings, but in certain like happy to kind of let go. And so, what do you think? How that dynamic part affect like real talk? Did you guys always enjoy each other?
It was mostly me
Safe
and Jess
space.
talking to one another about what planning, and then
Uh,
just saying, "Okay, guys, come, come follow."
Just for the next trip, if we're able to dig a little deeper, would there be any way you guys would want to be included more in the planning process, or are you okay because the alignment is there in the interests?
You mean us the 9s, be included in the planning process? I
Do
feel
you
like
want to
we've been
be?
included by creating this Google spreadsheet that we could just look and see how it's being updated every day by Jenny and Jess.
Every day. Well, what about you?
I think that was an interesting answer. Like for me, because I've been on a trip with Jess before, and I've been on trips with Jenny's and like other personality types, I kind of knew what to expect. So knowing their ability to plan and their passion for planning, I kind of pulled back. Not to say that like I didn't have my inputs as well. I definitely gave my opinions here and there, like on places that I wanted to visit or things that I wanted to eat. But I do appreciate the fact that they put in so much time and effort into this, and like so much enthusiasm goes into it when they like manage to schedule the efficiency of like stops down to like the minute.
We did do it to the minute. Did we take some of your inputs and actually do it, Will?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Like when I
If you
wanted
could do something differently on the trip, what would it have been then?
Safe space.
on this trip,
Uh-huh.
if I could have done something different, probably less shopping.
Will, you had the second most shopping bags.
Oh, who had the first?
His wife.
Jenny's just a bad influence on my life.
That's why Will's slowly becoming a 7 like
Yeah.
characteristic.
So my main Enneagram is a 9, but then slowly because of Jenny,
Because you go
I'm
with the
now like,
flow to
yeah.
your dominant other. That's a great analysis right there. Oh, Matt is not becoming a 2 though. I don't think so.
You have to just be really assertive.
I know. It's because I'm not a 7. All right, so we're going to go into the recommendations, and I think this would be interesting to hear. Because we have a big group, we're going to go around and say one recommendation each in case it overlaps. And then if you're dying to give your second, you can give the second for the categories I did give. Hopefully this will help for some people that are planning to travel to Korea soon. I haven't been there in 10 years myself. Can't believe it. And so we're going to talk about the top 1 to 2 places that each of you recommend. And we're going to start with restaurants. So before we begin, it sounds like mainly it was food, drinks, and scenic places were like a big priority, and then maybe some shopping and other things in between to get the overall theme of this trip. And so for restaurants, what would you guys recommend as your favorite restaurant that you went to during these 2 weeks in Korea? And you guys were staying in the Jamsil area, the green yuck station.
Yeah, the green yuck. I think it's also important to point out that this is none of our first trips to Korea. We've all
Right.
like been to Korea multiple times before, like for extended amounts of time. Like Jennie and Will went to Korea less than a year ago than this trip, like from this trip. So a first timer's trip might look different from like our trip that we went to.
That's a good disclaimer.
Okay, I'll go. My favorite restaurants, there's 2. One is a Namdaemun 닭곰탕 restaurant, and then the second one was
I thought
actually
we're all doing one each.
sorry,
Great,
I have
great
I know,
That's
but
all, Jenny.
no,
You
but
only get
this is
one.
a tiebreaker. But
well,
the
let's
second
see.
one,
Let's see if someone else.
This
Let's
is
give
why,
someone else a chance to
Shelly's wing 1, I think, comes out in these.
more or
rule
less.
follower.
Following the rules.
Well, let's give someone a chance to say your second one, and then if it's not shared, you can say it.
I'll go next.
Okay, it's probably
She's gonna say it.
No, I won't say it. I won't say it.
You don't
I
know
don't
what it
think
is.
you'll say it. My favorite was, I had two too, but this was the Jeju Kwanghae, the one where there was the full set of abalone and beltfish, and like we feasted like the first meal when we landed at Jeju-do. That was the bomb because I usually don't like abalone, but the abalone was just like melt in your mouth, like so good. Yeah.
That's the ponjuk stuff, right? Where it's like that's the move on from what I just said.
Chumbo,
Are you guys, by
chumbo.
the way, chumbo?
I was like, good job.
I mean, sometimes in chuk they do put chumbo in chuk.
Oh no, I'm gonna. Okay, Will, you go ahead and go next on what was your favorite restaurant.
So this used to be my number 1, but now after this trip, I think it's my number 2. But because I know somebody else is gonna say it, the number 1. My favorite is actually Kumdaeji, the Golden Pig Korean barbecue place, and that's like been my go-to for the last couple of trips. It's super touristy, but somehow I still like enjoy the flavor of the barbecue restaurant every time I go.
Kundaeji also only serves pork. So
That's a good note.
and they only have kimchi jjigae and that's it. Like there's no
Oh,
other,
that's
you
perfect
can't
for
get
me.
any other kinds of side dishes or anything like that.
So it's very like what you see is what you get kind of place, which is nice
Like
to
there's like
have
5
too.
things on the menu. Yeah.
Did you guys end up going there? You guys went again this time as well.
It was just Jenny and myself, yeah. But it's
Mm.
definitely not like a mom and pop type shop. Definitely becoming, I think, a chain now. They have like
Oh,
2
okay.
locations.
No, the other one is a fake. It's not.
Oh, the other one's a
It's not
fake?
Kundaeji.
Okay.
But you have to, if you go at like 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m., like you're cutting it close because their wait list grows to like 2-3 hours and they'll cut off the wait list at that point. So you have to go really early.
Okay.
It's
And
in
then
Yaksu.
Yaksu.
Yaksu. Or it's kind of like south of Dongdaemun area.
Okay. And what was your favorite restaurant?
I had
5.
I mean, there's a lot, but I think it's hard because in Korea, just everywhere is good. Because it's different than here, where you just have not as many choices, right?
Mhm.
But in Korea, there's so many choices for like specific kinds of foods that there's just so many. I think So I liked the gopchang place that was near like where Oma and Appa live, so in Jamsil.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if it's like a well-known restaurant or anything, and we could have just been really hungry because we had been like shopping all day and we came, and maybe it's also because it's in like this 골목 like Kori area, that's walking distance from where my parents live, so it's just like so easily accessible. It's like right there, and it was really good. The gopchang in Korea is different than gopchang in America. Yeah, maybe it was just the punigi, I don't know, but it was
Puniki
so good
means
we went.
vibe.
Oh, sorry, yes. But
For
yeah,
my
it was
non-Korean listeners.
so good that we actually went twice when we were there. So
Wow. I like that you guys all shared something from different places. Did you want
Nobody
to
said my second
expand?
one.
I know. I was gonna ask you.
I know I was choosing between that and then the other place, the place that we went with Joyce. That was good
Oh,
too. The samgyeopsal jip.
That
It's
was
called
also not it.
samgyeopsal chip.
No,
I think
it's
it's called
called
like
Kyode
yeah,
2층 집.
yeah, Kyode Ichungji. That place is good. But my other favorite was Insadong Sujebi, which your dad took us to. It was bomb.
Oh yeah, that was good too.
I think I would want to try that.
Yeah, for
Thank
all
you.
of these places though, you have to go early or else they'll like run out of food or you can't get a seat.
So these are all popular places, even I guess everywhere, but these are notable for people to. That's a
Not
good.
not the gopchang place.
Yeah,
You
the
can go there
gopchang is in
anytime.
a 골목 거리, is what you said, which is a whole
I guess
alley.
it's not in a 골목. It's just in a 거리.
Okay, isn't that like a 윷놀이 number?
걸, not
Oh,
거리.
okay. I've married a white man. All right. Nightlife. So great. Number 2. Also something you guys, I think, shared enjoying together. What would be a top recommendation in the nightlife scene for you guys? What does nightlife mean for y'all as a group? And then what your recommendation might be for that?
I think it definitely changed in our 30s. In our 20s, we were going out all the time.
We still do that.
No, I know, but like I guess in our 20s it was like very loud places, and in our 30s we like quieter places
The
that
loud
we can have a
places Jenny is referring
conversation.
to are the clubs. That is where
Which we
Jenny
did
and
go to.
Shelly loved going to.
What do you mean loved? Still
We
love.
Yes,
still
yes.
love.
We just can't get into it anymore.
But they won't
Well,
let
yeah,
us
I
in.
just watched a drama where they were asked for their IDs and they're like, oh my gosh, like we're so young. And then they showed it. And then the guy was like, oh, we don't let anyone past Kusam 93 into the club. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what is that? And then that was a funny scene, but it sounds like it's
Wow.
true.
It's true.
Wow.
It is
Our
true.
But we
nightlife
got into
now,
one.
But
yeah, our nightlife now is just like cocktail lounges, getting drinks, or going to like another restaurant.
a pojangmacha.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Well, anyways, my favorite nightlife in Korea is, and Will and I didn't get to go, but this is like one of our favorite spots, is Cobbler. It's like a Hanok style whiskey
Ooh.
bar, and it's super, just like a really good vibe, really good whiskey. You could ask them to make you any kind of cocktail, and they'll make it. They ask about like what's your tasting profile and things like that, so they can make some custom stuff for you. Really, really like it.
So this
that
is
would be
referring
my
to like a
favorite.
past trip, but that would be your all-time favorite there. Oh, that's good to
Shelly
know.
went this time.
Yeah, that was number 1 on my list for nightlife recommendation.
Oh.
So I guess we're gonna skip Shelly,
I have
and
some
then
more.
you can just go.
Don't worry. So someone else can talk, and then we'll see if they go over it. I have 3.
No, go
Oh.
first.
See, I can't choose which one to say.
So it'd be nice if someone else said the other one on hers.
I'm not gonna
can
say
say
it.
it.
I don't think.
Who wants to go next? Oh, how about in the future, you guys just popcorn each other?
Okay, popcorn, Shelly.
Okay, fine. I will choose Vila Records then. Vila Records, I really like the drink that I got and the vibe and the menu. Oh, the menu was on this like leather scroll, and there were like
Ooh.
all these drinks that I've never heard of before. I think they're like custom to that place. But I got a drink called Natural High, and it came out in like the cutest setting. Like it was a wooden, I don't even know what to call it, like a wooden log, and then they had shaved, was it's not acorn, what is it called?
A
A
porcupine?
porcupine, but it was made out of the, no, it's not an acorn. What is it?
Wood?
Walnut?
The, the spiky thing. You guys
Pine
saw
cone?
it?
Pine
A
cone.
pine
It's a pine
cone.
cone.
Oh,
I feel like we're playing a game.
I don't remember your drink.
pine cone. They had shaved porcupine out of a pine cone. Oh gosh.
You were really selling the vibe until the very end. I really was about to go there.
No, but it was recommended by someone who lives in Korea. So I think
Mm.
that would be a little, I know tips are for later too, but places that we found that were Insta famous or blogs or TikToks, they were different than the ones that like the people who live there would recommend and that we went
Mm.
to. So both good, but that one was recommended by like a friend who lives in Korea.
Popcorn.
Oh, Jess.
I think one of my favorite like vibe places that we went to was Bilchiro Brewing.
Brewing, of course.
I know. Although I will say I didn't like any of their beers. So I didn't like
Mm.
love their beers. The beers were good, but they're not like I wouldn't buy them to take home with me.
So vibe over
But
taste
but I
at
like
this
the
place.
vibe. Yeah. So that was in like a 골목. It has like cool lighting, graffiti images, like a fun place to like hang out with your friends. Like very casual but like fun atmosphere. So I liked it.
Yeah, plus one to that. That was gonna be my choice as well.
Oh really?
Yeah, Villa Records was nice, but I feel like it's more of a date spot and definitely go like if you have a small group, but for like a bigger group of friends, like if you want just a casual place to hang out, that's like a little bit more low key or a little bit more like social, then definitely Ojiro Brewing is like the place to be at. And it doesn't get like maybe it's just the day that we went, but I don't think it gets too busy.
Mm.
We were able to get a seat pretty quickly when we got there, and we didn't have to wait too long, which was nice. Versus like Villa Records, I think you do have to make a reservation if you're interested in going.
But didn't they close early? Because I remember they like closed and we had to leave at, was it
Maybe you
midnight
guys were
or?
out too late.
But that area too, the Ujiro area, I think is there's a lot of like things popping up there, like very
Mm.
hip places to hang out, eat, drink.
Okay. Anyone dying to say a second one?
Shelly,
I
you
have
have
a second
three.
one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Shelly has
Ooh,
three. Go Shelly.
I had a third one, yeah. No one said it. Shinsajeon. I really like Shinsajeon with
I did
for
too.
makgeolli.
I did too. I
Makgeolli, okay.
just like I like the makgeolli and the food there was all very
Mhm.
good. I just didn't like the line, and I don't like that.
Oh,
There's
Yeah,
so
it's
many
not worth the
foreigners
wait for
there.
me.
I don't
that's
love
true.
that.
It just
It,
makes
But
you
I
feel like one of them.
yeah, even though I
And you
am. But I will say, overall, the food and the drink were like it was very good there. I think I would want to go back during the day.
mm,
Maybe
yeah,
at
when
night
it's
it
not
gets more
crowded.
popular. So, but also like makgeolli. I don't know why. I like drinking makgeolli during the day.
The honey
Mm.
makgeolli where
So
they
make me sound like
cut
a
the
drunk.
honeyed makgeolli there.
honey. They cut a piece of honeycomb and put it in your makgeolli, in your cup of makgeolli.
Oh.
They need to do something to kind of like filter that gunk
Oh,
out
the wax.
after.
Yeah, yeah. That was one of the problems, but it was still good. The makgeolli
Maybe a
was really good.
daytime option is what I'm hearing. Okay, and then what was your second one, Will?
So not on this trip because it ended up pretty badly, but I would definitely recommend this place on the weekends. I think it's called AOMG in Apgujeong, and it's definitely like for mid 30 or early to mid 30s crowd, I would say. You definitely won't see a lot of younger kids there, but it's definitely like a nice hip place to be at on the weekends. It's got good food. If you do end up going pretty late, then it might be hard to get a seat, but it moves pretty quickly. Yeah, I like that whole area, and there's like a lot to do besides just that restaurant.
It's not AOMG, but it's
Okay.
OMG Kepan
Wait,
Obuncheon
what
or
is
something like that.
AOMG? I've heard of that. Is that like a
No,
okay? I was like, I heard of
J-Tech
that
record
somewhere.
label.
I was like,
Record label. Yeah.
That's so
That's
funny
what
because
happened to
I
Will
didn't
too.
catch that. I was like, oh yeah, AOMG. I was like, oh yeah, that place.
so it's OMG Ketpan.
Like kepan, you know what kepan?
Yeah.
Like,
I have forgot a lot of Korean.
hmm
Did you guys go to amusement parks or museums?
No, I changed
Okay,
it to mall.
to mall. which is the one feedback from Will.
It's
Yes,
adult
Shelly.
amusement parks.
So then we're gonna skip through that and say it was mall. And then did you guys want to say any cafes or
I don't know about you guys. I don't know a specific cafe that I liked, but the areas like
Mm.
Iksandong cafe area, like there's a lot of like cute cafes there. The Seongsudong area has a lot of like hip cafes there too. So more of like cafe
Yeah.
neighborhoods.
It's really like packed though because they're so Insta famous
Mm.
now. So it's really hard to get in. I would say like my favorite cafe in Jeju though was Bommal. Because of the view. The
Yeah,
view there
that
is
was a good cafe.
amazing. So I would
And they have
definitely
corgis there,
recommend.
so like
Yeah.
corgis?
Yeah, they have corgis there. But you can't pet them. They're just there.
But yeah,
hmm
interesting. We actually stumbled across that cafe after our first cafe failed because they were not so good.
well, we were gonna go to the GD cafe, right?
G Dragon GD?
Yeah, GD's
Yeah,
cafe,
yeah.
and it was like
hmm
yeah,
Mm.
and
Empty.
it was like okay, but then we saw this other one. I was like, ooh, this place is cute,
Yeah, we would have still gone, but like there's no view. Like once you're inside, there's like nothing there.
and they have cute gear and
Mm.
merchandise.
Yeah,
We
I
got
have a
our
We
cup
all
we
from
want
got
now.
there.
our we got our
I have a
totes from
tote from
there.
there.
I actually really like that tote.
Oh, you gotta get that tote.
I'm surprised nobody said like, oh, I forgot the Korean word for it, but like nobody said the CU coffee or
Oh, the 편의점.
yeah, the
Oh,
편의점.
Pyeongjae coffees.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like it.
Korean
I
coffee.
actually like the hazelnut iced coffee. It's like the one where you at the 편의점, you just buy ice like in a plastic cup and then buy a bag of coffee and you pour it in and eat it. I think I drank it like 3 times during our trip. I know Jess said she didn't really like it, but I liked it.
It's very light coffee, but I mean, it's still nice like on a hot day. If you just need to drink something.
Hmm. So then the last part would be weekend trips. And by weekend trips, I just mean like
hmm
non-Seoul trips. But I'm not sure if you guys only did Jeju-do or not, but I'd love to hear maybe what was your favorite place in general and what you would recommend about that.
We only did Jeju this trip, but I've been to Gyeongju, which is really nice if you're into like hikes,
Okay.
and it has a lot of historical
Mm.
like monuments. So it's really, like if you're
mm.
into history. But my sister went to Jeonju, and my dad keeps telling me to go there because they're supposed to have the best food in Korea. Like that province is like known for
Okay.
good food. So
What noodle? Aren't
bibimbap.
they famous for some
Jeonju
sort of like
bibimbap,
noodles? Is it
they're known for bibimbap.
naengmyeon? Oh,
We didn't go,
bibimbap.
yeah, we didn't
Okay.
go on a weekend trip, but last time I was in Korea, I went to
So,
Sokcho with Jessica on was it a day or two? I don't know how long we stayed, but
I
it
think it was
was
just a day trip,
a day
actually. Yeah.
in the winter. So it was really cold. And I threw up on the way back on the bus. We both ate the same thing, but because it was cold, I was like scrunched up, and then we got on the bus.
oh, I do that a lot. I also like tense and shiver, and then I
Yeah.
get chest or
Shelly is
indigested, and
never
then I throw
prepared for
up.
the weather, I feel like. She's always cold and
Lack of
shivering.
planning.
Mm.
It's really sad to see.
My mindset is like, just go and buy it. If I need it, just go and buy it. Pack light and go and buy it.
yeah, Shelly, you just didn't find one that you like to buy, but you had
We
the right
didn't have
mindset.
time to shop before we went, like, to travel because our plan was like,
No, there was this one time though, Shelly literally walked into one of those like stores like Spao or something, and she bought like 3 sweaters
So next
because she
trip,
was so cold.
we'll
So
schedule in the first hour or two of
Mm.
arriving to go buy things that you need.
perfect, perfect.
Look at this feedback debrief meeting right now. But I like that. Pack
Oh,
light and go by.
and comfortable shoes. This time I did not have comfortable shoes, so that was one of the things that I kept taking my shoes off when I sat down and just made a comment about it. And the reason why I had uncomfortable shoes is because Jenny said if I wear my Crocs, my she's gonna leave me or she's gonna throw me out.
Shelly, some of these places are nice places. You can't just show up in Crocs.
Oh, that's so funny. That's how my sister also talks to me
Yeah.
sometimes. Okay, so would Jeju-do be the
Yeah.
top place you would recommend in general,
I mean, if
or
you can go to Jeju,
these are just like side
Yeah.
suggestions?
definitely a different experience.
I've
Jeju
never
or
been to
Busan?
Busan, so I
I
can't
mean,
I
I
can't
like
compare.
Busan. Of course, like Busan is nice. Busan, Yeosu, but it's all just beach towns.
Okay, Jeju, Seokcho, what did you all say? Jeonju or
Gyeongju,
Gwangju?
Gyeongju.
Gyeongju,
Jeonju
Jeju,
bibimbap.
Seokcho, or
Sokcho, not
Jeonju?
Sokcho.
Jeonju, Jeonju.
Oh, if we have to pick one,
Hands down, Jeju. I would.
Just one, yeah.
I only been to two of those four places, and so I would pick Jeju. I want to retire in Jeju. Like that's how much I love
I
it.
actually really
Yeah.
liked Donghae.
Oh.
The oh, I mean, of course, Jeju. I
Oh,
thought Jeju
that's not
wasn't one of the
Jeju?
choices. Jeju is like a 3 or 4 day trip. You know, it's like a long weekend. Whereas like the other places in Korea that you can really do just 1 or 2 days in most of these other places. But Jeju-do, like if you want to see as much of it as you can, like I would spend 4 days there. But any of the other cities, you can do 1 or 2 days. I actually really liked going to Pohang. Pohang is coastal city on the east side, like middle of Korea. When I was living in Cambodia, all the missionaries that I worked with, they are from Pohang. So I went to go visit them there.
Oh, right.
I
That's where Australia. Okay. So, any last tips or content about Korea itself that you feel is very important to recommend to
Yeah, so
listeners?
many.
Yeah, you didn't even cover skincare.
Oh,
Oh, because I don't. I'll put sunscreen on my face for the first time. I use your sunscreen today.
I mean, skincare is like a number one thing I try to do when I go to Korea. It helps to like be there for like a longer time. You can do more stuff
Oh,
while
that's
you're there,
right.
but it's so cheap. It's so much cheaper. Like if I were to do the same care or the whatever package
Mm.
that I got that I did in Korea versus here in America, I had to pay like $250 for it, and then Korea is $50.
like Botox in Korea is like $15. It's like super cheap. Um,
Yeah, so you have to time it
I'm too
well.
scared to get Botox, but
You do have to pre-plan that because of timing,
Mm.
but it's
hmm
definitely worth it for cost.
I think hair too. I'm like definitely going back to get hair perm or booty perm, where it gives you volume on your roots, so you don't really have to do anything to your hair, and it's like poofy.
Will any skincare
No.
tip?
Wait, what about tips? I think tips is very important.
yeah, I have some tips. One of them would be bring an extra suitcase because there's just so much to buy and you just don't know. So I would just bring an extra suitcase. The other thing is I would get a SIM card because a lot of these restaurants, if you have to wait in a queue, they ask you for a local phone number so that they can text you. And so it's just really helpful if you're gonna go eat at, some of these more popular places. And then another thing to keep in
Mm,
mind
okay.
is if you're going to Jeju, you need a car. You really do need to rent a car. And it's cheaper to rent a domestic rental car, but you need a domestic citizenship number. So if you know somebody who lives there, they can probably book one for you. But just a piece of advice if you're going to Jeju.
But if you don't have a phone number, you can always ask the hotel concierge to help you book it in advance. Jenny took most of my tips. I was going to go for the SIM card thing.
Oh, another thing is like things actually open later than you think in Korea. Like things are not open at like 9 a.m. I
Oh,
feel
do
like
they
the
not have
shopping and
kids?
stuff all opens around 11 a.m. or even restaurants.
And they
It kind
always
of
have like a
surprised
little
us at
break
first.
in between like that lunch and dinner
A
so
break
that
time.
Oh,
they're
I
not
have a
open.
tip.
Hmm.
Okay, so my tip is if you're planning to stay out like past midnight or even past 11:30, it's not as easy as you think to get a taxi and just like off the side of the road. So definitely do plan ahead. If you like meet a taxi driver that's nice and friendly, usually they'll make some arrangements with you beforehand. They'll offer you their phone number and you can make arrangements with them to like pick you up. Otherwise, I would definitely say like ask the hotel to reserve a taxi for you at like some location past midnight because otherwise it's going to be difficult for you to get home. And then the I think the trains stop at like midnight too.
Or get a Kakao Taxi, the app, because a lot of the taxis when we were trying to grab them, they were already reserved for those who called the taxis via Kakao Taxi. So it was really hard to find taxis also when we were out there.
The one tip
Got
that
it.
I had was a SIM card. I did forward Jess Instagram reel that showed the SIM card is cheaper, not at the airport, but like if you go into the city, they have SIM card rentals that are much cheaper.
What
Okay.
I didn't give my
Okay.
tip.
That's a good tip too.
If you can, to get to know locals or know people that live there to get the best recommendations of things, because places that we found were good, like I mentioned before.
All right.
Um, it's just there's so many things that I feel like it's a good way to filter out like too like famous of places. Um,
The tourist traps.
yeah. Oh, I feel like this is also Jenny. They loved going to the pharmacy, like Korean pharmacies. Yeah, we went to like the yakguk or the Korean pharmacy. They stopped by like every day. Apparently, they said like it has really like their
It is true.
medicine is
I
like a
stopped
lot
by.
better.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that the dosage in Korean medicine is higher than in America. So if you get a cold, for example, and you get cold medicine here, it doesn't work as fast or as well because it's a little bit weaker. And that's because our like FDA is a little bit more strict, I guess, or I don't know, just has different
Mm.
standards. So I stock up on cold medicine, I stock up on mosquito repellent. Um,
Oh, okay. I see. Good to know. All right, let's go to the memories. What was your favorite memory? And then your most, I could do without this memory in my head, or if, you went back and changed it
I
up.
Oh, I was going to say, well, I know there was a little bit of a conflict during the trip, but I actually don't think that that was my most frustrating memory because it led to really good conversation and it made the rest of the trip more fun, I feel. So I actually think that my favorite memory on this particular trip was when Shelly, Jess, and I just stayed up until like, I don't even know how late. We stayed up until like 3 or 4 a.m. talking and it was just really fun. Like, I don't know. It was
You
just
took
really fun for
my
me.
my favorite memory. I literally have it written here. It says talking till
Oh,
3 a.m. at Jeju Airbnb after a day of misunderstanding. Well,
sounds like a
I wrote
diary
everything down
entry.
that I need to talk about.
Oh,
So that was shared by both of you guys. It sounds like the misunderstanding will be revealed soon, but not yet because it didn't meet
what
the
was yours, Will?
criteria yet. What was
I
y'all's favorite
struggled with this
memories?
one because like every day was a lot of fun.
Oh,
I think like my most favorite memory, it wasn't just one instance, but it was the fact that we got to road trip together in Jeju-do. I kind of just like that experience being able to go together as a group because it reminds me of my past like when I would do that with my family and my cousins, like we would go on road trips together. So for like me personally that stood out. I wasn't there for the 3 a.m. talk, so that didn't I couldn't go for that one. Yeah,
Will is
I was
always
not invited.
invited.
We thought he was gonna come up at some point after he showered, but he never came back.
okay. Anya, what's yours?
I have a lot. I mean, all the like little things, like being able to do very like day-to-day activities. One of the things that I laughed the most about was we had this friend in Jeju that we were like kind of forcing to like hang out with us. But you know, like when I was photoshopping him into all of the pictures, but like having like little inside jokes like that on the trip as we were doing it, like driving and finding things to do and talk about and things to laugh about. And
We also randomly ran into him at Coex Mall, like
Mm.
randomly, not even in Jeju-do, in
cross
Seoul.
paths and we're like, hey.
Like a Korean drama.
Yeah. But like like kind of like having those moments because we all like
Oh.
actually not we all I live separately from them, and so being able to hang out and do kind of those things together all the time is rare, so to be able to enjoy those moments I think I really liked.
Yeah. This fills your cup until the next time, which is already in the fall. Wow. What about your frustrating memory? What could you maybe do without?
So the night that Will was talking about how we went to the OMG Kipan, and he mentioned, oh, but it wasn't such a good memory this night, this time around. Mine was related to that. So when I got home, I got very drunk that night. And oh, actually, I'm almost gonna listen to this, huh?
Yeah, you already started.
I could have done without getting drunk and having Oma see me getting drunk. I could have done without that. If I could like, get rid of any moment, that would be the one and only thing I would have done.
So
I think we were all scared.
The place oh, you guys all came. Y'all were all staying there that night.
Well, Will and I were actually at a hotel, but we were getting like live updates from Shelly because Shelly was staying up working.
And I was sober.
Yeah, she was sober and she was nervous. She was like, "What do I do?"
Yeah, it's also just been a while since I've drank and had to come home and face my parents.
It was not a good scene. It was not a pretty scene, Jess. Yeah, you guys have to have been there. Like,
well, we don't have to go into details.
Should we share this memory offline, online? Okay.
Most frustrating memory was, well, I mean, yes, like on the trip there was a little bit of like I think our Enneagram personalities kind of came out.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Which we didn't know, I think. Like we kind of knew vaguely, right? Like we knew that Shelly's a very free-spirited person, but not to what extent. And we knew that like Jess is a planner, but we didn't know how maybe not going according to plan might impact, her, or like the way that we should adjust. It's a really abstract way of saying it, but for example, Jess is fine with us not going according to the plan, right? But I think the way that we were reacting or acting was frustrating to her, which we didn't know, and we kept doing it. For example, I just kept forgetting. She would literally say what the plan is like 10 times, and I'd be like, "What are we doing?" And she'd be like, I just said what we're doing." And I would like literally be like, "Wait, so what was the plan?" Because in my mind, if somebody else is planning, it just goes in one ear and out the other for me because I'm just following at that point. But I could see how that would make somebody feel, especially as a planner, because I've been in that situation too. And I could see how that would make it almost lonely in a sense where like, oh, I'm the only one that's excited about doing these things, or
Right.
It wasn't actually that.
We'll let her talk first, and and then you can share your.
It was actually the pagimchi, guys. It was the pagimchi.
And Shelly kept thinking it was something completely else, that like we didn't get pagimchi and just really wanted pagimchi. And so that's why the talk until the 3 or 4 a.m. really just helped us understand one another a little bit better. But apparently I didn't get the message because that is not what she was mad about. So would love to hear it again.
So I think what I was getting frustrated about was we would go over the plan, and I took people not remembering it to be a sign of, oh, like I don't remember it because it wasn't really something I wanted to do. Whereas Shelly just doesn't remember things because she has bad memory, you know?
As do many nines. Many nines have bad memory. It's actually a thing.
So in my
That's
head, I
good
was
to
like,
know.
yeah, but I was like, well, I said this like 5 times. How do you, if you don't remember, it's more of a reflection of like your investment in that thing, right? So I took it to that. And then it was stressing me out because I was like, well, then what do you guys want to do? And then, so it went from there.
So I think I was right.
Yeah.
Did I not say that?
I
About
think
what
probably
Justin's
the
getting
only
at?
thing was when you said the emotion word or the word lonely, maybe that doesn't resonate with her.
Uh-huh.
But the like scope of what you're like the scenario
The
sounds
build
right.
up, the build up.
Especially the Enneagram personality is actually playing into place. And
Yeah.
threes need affirmation, right? Of some sort. So like if that's the plan, some sort of affirmation in that direction will help keep it going. Otherwise it's like, well then for what? I don't know. Is what I'm reading
Yeah.
from this.
But also, it wasn't even my plan. It was what Jennie had planned.
But that set the tone for an amazing trip. 5 out of 5. Besides the 4.5, is that your most frustrating memory, Will?
No, so my most frustrating memory is like there were nights when clearly everyone was tired and everyone wanted to go home, but nobody voiced the fact that they wanted to go home. And so it ended up leading to like bad situations for certain people.
Wait, what are you talking about, Will?
It's the night when we all met with Cal people and you guys couldn't go
Oh,
home because Skim was
Yeah.
like, you guys have to stay out with me.
I will
Oh,
say I
okay.
really liked that day up until the second norebang. Like
But then
everything
that
else was like amazing.
and he went home anyway. So
But
it's
that
like,
also resonates with my Enneagram because I want to please everyone. And so me being not drunk and wanting to pacify everyone's wishes, I wanted to stay out because he needed
yeah.
someone to stay out with. He didn't want to be left alone.
So Shelly was singing until like 6
But then Jess is sleeping on the side of me. So I'm like, oh my gosh, but we have to go home. But then we have to like stay out with him. Oh my
Oh, I love
God.
this. I love this.
Yeah.
Any interesting cultural things you guys noticed there that might be interesting to know as a listener?
I was thinking like before this trip especially, I would think that there's more cultural things that I was learning about Korea. But now that I went this trip, there's so many tourists and a lot of native people actually speak more English now than before. And a lot of menus there's translated menus and things like that too. So I would say as a traveler who doesn't speak Korean, it's definitely getting easier. But I do think that as it becomes more of a travel destination, it's losing a little bit of its like
Right.
old world charm, if you will. Um, so yeah, I mean, just like that, that is something I learned about Korea this trip is just that wow, it's really turned into a very popular global like destination for people.
Yeah, a lot of the places are like westernized now. Like you'll see a lot of franchise restaurants from America. Even the food scene itself is like very westernized as well.
There's a place called
I
Brooklyn
think for
Burger.
me,
That's what Will's talking about. There's like a lot of like
Oh.
American
Yeah.
style burger joints now.
yeah, or like Randy's
Yeah.
Donuts. That was definitely new.
Everything is so much cleaner. I feel like I
Mm.
saw like on the subway, the convenience stores, getting food, getting coffee, kimbap, all of that. Everything is just so convenient. Even like Shelly just buying everything she needs when she got there. Um, all of that I think was
I think Korea
easy.
is definitely an Enneagram 3 when I hear like efficiency, kind of convenience being a top characteristic if I were to type them. Okay, so what I'm going to have you guys do is share on 1, 2, 3 your fruit, but you will have time to expand on that in a quote later that I will put as a graphic, okay? Because we are on a time crunch. So, how would you describe your trip, Korea, in a fruit?
Halabong.
Would you say halabong?
Halabong.
Oh,
Watermelon.
Shelly was gonna say the same thing.
Watermelon. I know, watermelon.
For me, a Korean taigi.
Okay. Who is most
Strawberry.
likely to get drunk first? 1, 2, 3.
Jennie.
Jennie.
First, Jenny.
Who is most likely to get mad
I didn't
first?
get
1, 2, 3.
Jess.
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 But
Who's
I
most
didn't
likely?
get drunk on this trip.
Who is most likely to throw it down at karaoke? 1, 2,
Shelly.
3.
Shelly.
Shelly.
Who's most likely to make the ramyeon? 1, 2, 3.
Will.
Will.
Who is most likely to fall asleep first? 1, 2, 3.
Jennie.
Who's most likely
Jennie.
to cry first? 1, 2, 3.
Jenny.
Me.
Jennie.
And who's most likely to say cheers first?
Jennie.
Jess.
I mean me.
Jennie.
Jess.
Jess.
Okay. Oh, I did have one question. Will, how did you feel being the only male in this trip?
This is like not my first time with some of the girls. So most of the time I feel like a caretaker, but like that's only like later on in the day.
Mm.
But during the
Like at
day,
night.
like during the day, I'm more like, I don't know what's the word. I have to like rein in the girls from time to time with certain things. And then at
Do you
night,
feel burdened by it, Will, or do you enjoy it?
sometimes enjoy it. Sometimes, like some nights, it's like a little bit of a burden when things get a little bit out of control.
We're not that out of
But for the most
control.
part,
I feel like
Jess,
except for that
어머님,
one
we're very tame.
I feel like except for that one night, we were mostly in control.
so I think from a guy's perspective, it's like really encouraging and really like inspiring to see a group of friends stick together like over all these many years, going through all these challenges and like being very open and transparent with one another. Because traveling together with someone that is your opposite personality or different personality is one of the most difficult things, especially when you're traveling for like more than a week. So it encourages me a lot to see that like this group of friends has been so close together like
Wait, it's
for
difficult?
such a long time.
It's difficult to
Huh?
travel? I've never felt that it was difficult to travel with
No,
Jess and
I don't
Jenny,
know.
who have different planning personalities.
But thank you guys so much for coming on the podcast to reflect and share some vulnerable moments. I think it makes me want to travel with friends, and it's encouraging to see you guys still do that together after all these years since college.
I love you all very much. I feel like I grew closer.
I always feel close to you guys. Maybe that's why I feel comfortable not planning and letting you guys do everything.
Yeah, I will just say our friendship is next level.
I will echo that. I love how your favorite memories were just connection with each other and doesn't have to matter where. I'm excited to see where your next trip together will be. Thank you for listening to another episode of Kohler Commentary.
Commentary.
Bye.
Bye.
Man, I had such a blast listening to my sister and her friends just reflect and laugh about their Korea trip, and it really makes me miss some of my closest friends as well. Towards the end of the episode, we actually had some technical difficulties and had to end earlier than expected. And so I thought it would be fun to just have each of them share some final reflections so that whether it's them listening to this episode themselves or as you guys listen, maybe it'll encourage you guys to reach out to someone you've been wanting to travel with. But hopefully, you guys will just enjoy the final reflections of these travel memories.
To my dear 대한민국 travel buddies, after hearing everyone's reflections, I just want to say I truly enjoyed traveling with all y'all. I can confidently say I have no complaints whatsoever. I just hope everyone feels the same way because I just got us all matching 대한민국 sweaters for our upcoming trips together. Yeah, that's right. We're official and we're going to be traveling forever. In terms of what I learned about each other, Jenny and Will's core longings, according to the Enneagram explanation, complements each other perfectly because Will ensures Jenny will be taken care of, and Jenny fully utilizes Will's presence So Will knows that his presence matters.
It was really refreshing to reflect on our trip through our Enneagram types, becoming more aware of each other's traveling styles, even though we kind of knew it, hearing it coming from each other and very explicitly named, I think was really helpful. Hearing each other reflect on those frustrating moments and even all the favorite moments. And for me, I think a lot of the people in this group accommodated, it sounded like, to my need to have things like scheduled out and planned out more. So just personally, how I can make more room for spontaneity and lack of plans during travel. Although I may have to schedule and write in no plans into my plans. I'm very, very thankful to have friends I can travel like this with, especially because I live so far from them. I hope, I guess, post podcast means planning our next trip.
After hearing everyone share their thoughts and stories, I think I'm still just so amazed that despite our differences, in personalities and travel styles, we're able to have such an incredible time together. And, traveling together as different Enneagrams, I think, has sort of taught us to better communicate our styles and expectations with each other. For both Shelly and myself, as Enneagram type 9s, I think what we ended up learning is that we just need to more quickly confront some of these tensions and awkward situations at times and not have to internalize it for too long. And that just ended up helping us to better learn each other so that we could just focus on having more fun throughout the trip.
Having this conversation to look back on our trip has been so fun. We're all so different in our personalities, but we listed many of the same places as our favorite moments from the trip. And I find it quite interesting that we can be so different and experience things so similarly. Maybe some of that comes with time and how long we have known each other. Maybe if we went on this trip at the beginning of our friendship, we wouldn't want to go on another. But I can't wait to travel again with this group, and I hope that comes soon.